ongoing month of Jyeshta, the Vata Savitri Vrat is celebrated in India. It is a very popular custom because the glory of our tradition is that one always lives and prays for the welfare of others in the family even before oneself. But what is the meaning of Vata and who was Savitri? Let us hear this story today. Vata means the banyan tree, and the banyan tree represents faith and eternity. And the story of Savitri is mentioned in the Mahabharata. When Yudhishthira asked Markandeya Rishi whether there was any lady who was as noble as Draupadi, who though being a princess suffered the travails and tribulations of the forest life so cheerfully. At that time, the story of Savitri was narrated. Savitri was the daughter of King Ashwapati of Madhya Desh. He had no children and so he propitiated the Lord Savitra. Pleased with the devotion of the king and the queen, they were blessed with a baby daughter. And this daughter was named Savitri after the god who blessed them with this child. Now Savitri was very brilliant and intelligent and full of all possible virtues. She was such a lovely girl in her childhood that everyone was just fascinated to look at her. As she grew older, it was time for her marriage. But there was nobody in the surrounding kingdoms who could equal her in her beauty or her wit or brains. And so, there was no suitable match for her. At that time, the king, after consulting all his ministers, decided that she would be allowed to choose her own husband. And so, Savitri set out. She went with some elderly ministers and travelled across forests, kingdoms and ashrams and met many noble people. But nowhere could she find one whom she could connect with and accept as her future husband. Once, when they were travelling across a forest, she saw a young man who was dressed like a hermit. She wondered who he was, and then when the ministers inquired, they came to know that he was the noble Satyavan. As his name suggests, his family always spoke the truth. And he was the son of the blind king Dyumatsena, who unfairly had lost his kingdom and was now living in exile in the forest along with his wife and son. Satyavan served his parents like a dutiful child, and Savitri, on looking at him, realized that she had met her match. And so, shyly, she came back to her father and announced her decision. At that time, who would enter the court but for the sage Narada, saying Narayan, Narayan. When Narada entered, he was welcomed with all due respect. And then the king confided in the great sage. He asked for blessings because his daughter had selected her future groom. But Narada, on hearing the name of Satyavan, suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, she has not selected wisely." Now the king was dismayed because he understood that there was something which the sage was hiding. And so on prodding, the sage elaborated. He said that Satyavan was no doubt the ideal person for Savitri. He was full of noble virtues. He was a dutiful son. He was brave, valiant, wise and handsome. However, he was destined to die exactly 1 year from that date. Hearing this, the king was totally distressed. Who would want their daughter to be widowed within 1 year of the marriage? And so, he called Savitri and told her, "Please choose somebody else. This Prince Satyavan will die in 1 year's time." But Savitri told her father, "Oh father, you had given me the freedom to choose my husband, and once I have chosen him, it is forever. I will not marry anybody else now. I am firm in this decision. Now, King Ashwapati had to agree. Soon, the royal wedding procession set out. Savitri, accompanied by members of the royal family, the priests, the ministers, her friends, hand dressed in all regal finery, reached the forest. There, King Dyumatsena gladly accepted her as his daughter-in-law, and Satyavan and Savitri were married. After this, Savitri led the life of a dutiful daughter-in-law. Savitri cheerfully accepted the forest life. She served the aged parents of Satyavan so dutifully and lovingly that they were very pleased with her. At the same time, deep in her heart, she would always remember that the time was ticking. And so it was that 3 days before the appointed day, she undertook a rigorous fast. For 3 whole nights, she sat awake lost in prayer. And during the intervening days, she did not partake of even a single morsel of food. Dyumatsena and his wife asked Savitri why she was being so harsh on herself, for they did not know what destiny held in store soon. Savitri, however, said that she had undertaken the vrat and so it had to be carried out till it was completed. Now, they could not say anything to this and they silently supported her. Finally, on the last day, Savitri begged them that she be allowed to accompany Satyavan to the forest when he went and collected firewood. Knowing that the forest paths were very harsh for a delicate woman, they tried to dissuade her, but she would not be convinced, and so they relented. Savitri and Satyavan walked side by side amidst the beautiful forest paths. Satyavan lost in the scenic beauty and happy for the company of his wife, while Savitri dreading that moment which would soon snatch Satyavan away from her. Finally, as Satyavan was chopping some wood from the trees, he suddenly felt his limbs becoming weak. He felt sweat pouring from his body and a pain in the chest that he could not explain. He just cried out to Savitri and told her that he needed some rest. Savitri knew that the time had arrived. So she gently took Satyavan's head on her lap and began fanning him with her garments. At that time, she saw a figure approaching. A strong, resplendent figure dressed in red, coming on a buffalo with a rope in his hands, at the end of which there was a noose. She knew that it was Yama, the god of death, and yes, the god of truth or dharma. She prostrated before him. How could she see him? How could she hear him come? It was because of the 3 days of vrata that she had undertaken with total sincerity, innocence and purity. And so she could perceive that which no ordinary mortal can. And thus, as Yamaraj stood in front of her and looped his noose around the soul of Satyavan's body and got ready to leave, Savitri also decided to follow him. As Lord Yama went ahead, he suddenly sensed that there was the sound of anklets following him. As he stopped and looked behind, he saw that Savitri was following him. He looked at her gently and told her, "Go back, dear child. This place is not for you. I have come only to take Satyavan. You must know that death is a certain guest and you cannot avoid it." Now, Savitri told him very sweetly, "I have walked more than 7 steps with you, and it is said that one who walks 7 steps with a person becomes a friend of that person. So, by that logic, am I not your friend? Hearing this, Lord Yama was so charmed that he asked her to take a boon of her choice, but not the life of her husband. So Savitri immediately asked for the sight of her father-in-law. Lord Yama was so impressed because she had not asked anything for herself, and he blessed her that Dyumatsena would soon get his vision back. But now she had to leave. And Lord Yama walked on. Soon he could still hear the pitter-patter of feet behind him. And he stopped. He turned, and it was Savitri again. He told her, "Why are you following me, dear child? Do you want another boon? Go ahead. Ask anything, but not for the life of your husband." Now Savitri asked that the wealth and kingdom of her father-in-law be restored to him as it was rightfully his. Again Lord Yama was so impressed with her selflessness that he blessed her immediately, but warned her, "Please go back now. I've already given you 2 boons." And Lord Yama set off once again. After a certain distance, he realized that the tinkle of the anklets was still following him. And so he turned behind. He again smiled at Savitri and told her, "I'm ready to give you more boons, but please realize that now it is no longer the right place for you. You have to go back and lead your life, dear girl." Now Savitri asked for sons for her parents because she knew that besides her, there was nobody else who would look after the parents in their old age and see that the lineage would go on. Lord Yama was indeed impressed by this young woman's integrity and that she would not fall to any temptation and could keep asking for boons for someone other than herself. Now he set off with a final warning, telling Savitri that this time she would indeed have to return to her place. However, again, after some steps, he could hear by now the familiar anklets following him. And so, as he asked Savitri one last time for the last boon of all, she immediately told him, "Please bless me with 100 sons, O Lord." Now, Lord Yama was so happy that she was ready to go back home that he immediately said, very good. Now you have finally asked something for yourself. I bless you. You will get this boon, but now be off with you." Savitri lifted her head and sweetly smiled at him. Lord Yama asked her, "What was it now?" And Savitri said, "Oh Lord, you are the God of truth and I am true to my husband. How will I be able to get my 100 sons if you take Satyavan away from me?" Hearing this, Lord Yama was totally captivated. He said, "Indeed, it is a pleasure for devatas like me to lose to mortals like you." And he blessed her that he would return Satyavan's life and she could go and live happily for many years. So Savitri now ran happily back to the very same spot, that banyan tree under which Satyavan was lying. There she saw Satyavan wake up as if from a deep sleep. He did not know what all had transpired in between. Savitri and Satyavan happily started rushing back to their hut, for they knew that their parents must be worried because it had been a long time since they had left home. Meanwhile, in the hut, Dyumatsena had got his vision back, and as they were just wondering how such a miracle could happen, the ministers of the kingdom came with the news that the kingdom was now restored to them and he was now the king once more. To celebrate this happy news, they saw Satyavan and Savitri enter at that very moment. And thus it is that Savitri brought happiness to the family in which she was wedded. With her sheer purity, simplicity, sincerity and determination, Savitri could bring back her husband from the dead and also restore the glory of the house into which she had been married to. This is the noble parampara which all of us should be inspired to follow, always putting service before self. If you like today's story, do share it with your family and friends, and I will be back with another story next Thursday. Until we meet again, Hari Om.